behind your back. Other hand. Other hand.
Why are you arresting me, sir?
Other hand.
Can you take my Bible? Why are you arresting me, sir? Why are you arresting me? What have I done?
Other hand. Other hand.
You have my hand, sir.
No, turn it in.
Why are you arresting me, sir?
Turn your hand in.
Sir, why are you arresting me?
First Amendment. Arresting you for the First Amendment.
What have I done, sir?
Preach the gospel.
All I've done.
First Amendment.
I understand.
Sir, what have I done? Why are you arresting me, sir?
Did he give you a warning?
You told me to shut it down. You can tell me why.
This is going to be a court case right there, and he's not going to lose.
It's already been challenged in court, so we don't go back. You guys stand back. Wait over there. If you're not, I'm going to arrest you guys for obstruction.
Hey, we're complying with you. We're just recording what's going on. He can still let him go, and it won't be a court case. But I can't. The acre can't even get close to 72 decibels.
I told him I said the 72 decibels. I thought it was the decibel level. He did that for something else. So I don't know enough about it to argue with that.
Well, I'm calling Adam.
Yeah.
This is when you call Adam. You can tell the cop's not sure. He could tell he's not totally sure, the officer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He looked like he was
Well, see, I told him that, and I didn't know enough.
Oh wow, is he driving him away?
Yeah, I think so.
What the heck?
Hey, Tim Frisch with A Frisch Perspective here. That video that you just saw was something brought to my attention by a friend of mine on Facebook. He posted recently, this is a friend from my New England days. He is now in Florida. He said bands were playing outside at businesses on either side of him, yet he is arrested while preaching on a public sidewalk. The title of the video is Tom Arrested for Street Preaching, Fort Meyers, Unlawful Arrest, First Amendment. So the story here is that from their perspective, the people that were actually doing the street preaching, this was an unlawful arrest because they were exercising their First Amendment rights. I asked my friend for some more details, and he said that the man was charged with nonviolent disobedience because he didn't give the officer his name, and a noise nuisance, which doesn't go into effect until 10:30 at night in that location. So it sounds as if the officer here was looking for some reason to be able to take this man off the street. Now, it is possible that his microphone was really loud and maybe some people thought it was a nuisance, but the point the man is making is that he was exercising his First Amendment rights. There were people playing music on both sides, so it was probably a pretty noisy area to begin with. When you're not actually there in a situation, it's hard to assess what's going on. You would hope the police officer would say, "Sir, could you please lower the volume on that because it is distracting other people from other things that they're doing around here." Maybe that would have been a better situation, and maybe the officer did do that. I really am not sure. Nevertheless, it's really sad to see someone actually get arrested for a situation like this. And again, it reminds me of the arrests that took place in Idaho. Most of the people in that outdoor worship setting weren't actually arrested, but some people were particularly approached by police, and then when asked to give their information, they didn't give it because if they're not committing a crime, the argument is that they don't have to give that personal information about themselves. So I think that's kind of what's going on here. I just wanted to share this story because I think it's really interesting. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Do you feel that the officer in this situation, from what you can tell, is overstepping his bounds? Do you think it could have been handled differently? Do you think the man should have complied more, turned down his volume, or gone to a different area? These are all different kinds of questions that we have to think about and assess. So it's really hard. Every situation is different. I don't think this is a clear-cut case where he was necessarily targeted for preaching the gospel. Nevertheless, it does look pretty bad because other people are making noise on the street. He's not technically doing anything wrong. So we don't know really the officer's intent, but whether or not it was to come against him because he's a Christian preaching the gospel. It clearly is a situation where First Amendment rights are at question here, and does the officer really have the right to arrest a person for what they're doing? Again, we don't know all the details. We weren't there. I believe it'll probably be taken to court. We'll see what happens. They said on the video, the friend actually said that he's being arrested for the First Amendment and that it's going to go to court if the police officer carries out the arrest. We'll see if that happens. I'm not really sure. I just wanted to bring this situation to your attention because I really did think it was worth sharing, and a reminder that we always do have to really stand for our First Amendment rights because it can easily be infringed upon. We see that with these churches. That's really the argument that's being made about meeting indoors or even meeting outdoors and having more freedom to meet, because it's very easy for the government to infringe upon First Amendment rights. And they can have their reasons, and sometimes the government does have the right to step in and make certain judgment calls. Maybe that's the case here. I don't really know for sure. Nevertheless, it's just another situation where we're talking about First Amendment rights, and is our freedom really being protected as Christians? And not really just for Christians, but for anybody who wants to speak freely and assemble peaceably under the protection of the First Amendment. So I'd like to hear what you think in the comments below. Just try to keep those comments positive and edifying to discussion. But as always, thank you so much for listening to this report brought to you from A Frisch Perspective.